Hey YouTube, this is Kelvin, and I wanted to bring a very important in-game concept to you right now, and it is basically when one pawn has the ability to stop two pawns. Now, generally, it's known as the deep freeze, because basically, because of the movement, it freezes these two pawns in place. Now, as you guys have heard me say in my analysis videos and my playthroughs and stuff like that, I will demonstrate this particular position and how the pawn is able to stop the two pawns and stuff like that. Now, as we know in games, every single position is different. And so just because a general concept works in one position doesn't mean it's going to work in another position. So for this particular example, I went ahead and put these kings pretty much as far away from the situation over here as possible, just to truly demonstrate this situation. Now, of course, if these pawns are moved, let's say for example moving two spaces that way, it's going to be a slightly different situation. But I put them back here so you guys can kind of get the general understanding of the actual concept, and then you'll have to use your own ability of calculation in a specific in game to basically be able to see if it's going to work or not in your position. And so it's pretty much as simple as it sounds, like I said. And so you're going to, in this particular position, with white to move, you're going to go ahead and go a5. Now, basically in this position, you have put black in what we call zugzwang. Zugzwang is a German term. It basically means like you're stuck. You're stuck in this position. Like you kind of want to, of course in chess you can't pass the move, but you want to kind of pass the move in this particular position, because you're going to have to start to kind of give way. And now basically this concept, as you see it here on the board, is useful because what it does is, like I said before, it literally, this movement stops the movement of these two pawns. Because of course, you can't move if something is in a pawn's way, you can't move it forward. So naturally that means that this pawn can't move. Now of course this pawn has the ability to move. It can move one square up, or it can move two squares up. But as you guys know from my previous video, and I'll actually put it as an information card up here in this particular video at this time, you have the ability to go en passant, capture, en passant. That's one of the things that pawns can do. And so naturally, if you just go one square, that's just a capture by itself. And then also, at the same time, if you go, the two squares in front, the pawn is right next to the other pawn, so you can take en passant. So it basically ends up being the same thing. But in this particular position, like I said, let's say you do say, hey, I don't like this. Let me go ahead and just try to get to my other side of the board, right? Because of the particular position of these pawns right now, that's not going to work because you'll take en passant, or like I said, you'll take just a basic regular take back, and then a pawn race is going to start. And then so, black will go here, white will go here, black will go here, and then white goes here. And then now you have a queen. And the problem is you still have another three squares to go to until you can get to the end of the board. So that's how that wouldn't work. Now, of course, like I said before, put that back down. Like what I said before, if the position, let's say, for example, the pawns are here, and the white pawn is in its starting position, it's going to be a little bit of a different situation. Because the pawn race is either going to be won by black, or it's going to be just a tie, and then you'll basically just be queening at the same time. So that's why, like I said, you have to use your calculation to kind of estimate what the pawn race will look like, being able to try to visualize what the pawn race will look like, and if this type of a concept can work in this particular position, or like I said, as far as the position of the kings and stuff like that. And so back this up here, back to the original space, bam. And then at the same time, if we were to, let's say we pass the move to black, there will be some times where let's say it's black to move here, and you'll say, hey, I don't really know what to do that much. We're kind of stuck over here. Man, let me just go ahead and do that. And so this concept, even knowing it from the, let's say the white side, or whatever the side employing it is, it's gonna have impact as far as how you play your positions and stuff as the opposing, whenever you have a 2-on-1 a pawn majority, basically, right? And so as you guys know from this particular video, if you were to make this move and you give white the move, then white has the ability to play this, the deep freeze move. And so, it'll influence your decisions as far as when you're moving your pawns with respect to other pawns, because you never want to give somebody the ability to, disable your pawns. And so, this move here, moving to b6 would be a lot more legitimate of a move, because then that way, if the pawn does move forward, then it's just a simple take. So this, this position here, maybe going like that, that will kind of, in essence, freeze that white pawn. And so it just gives you, if you have no idea about the concept, then I mean, making a move like this might seem like it makes sense. And I've seen it done a lot of times. And so, it gives you the ability to understand when somebody does make this type of move, how you can take advantage of it. And then also it helps you as far as when you're managing your own pawns, like what you should and shouldn't do. So yeah, guys, that is the deep freeze. That is when one pawn freezes two. Also, just to give a little bit of extra example, real quick, we'll just do the three pawns to one pawn. Let's say, for example, you have this position here. Now, if you guys remember from what I just showed you, that it's almost kind of like you don't have this pawn or even this pawn on the board, right? And so, you'll be able to, based on just learning that concept or this concept, right? You'll be able to even recognize the pattern or something that looks similar in this particular position right here. And so you'll say, wait a minute, this looks just like the position that I had before with the two pawns and the one pawn. So like, would the concept do the same thing? It actually will in this particular position, like I said, because the pawns are up further into the board. And so if you make this move here, basically this one pawn has the ability to stop these three pawns from moving. Because of course, like I said before, you might go here or here or here or here, and it's the same thing. You take en passant, or you just simply take the piece on a regular capture, and then now you're queening, right? So, even though the position is slightly different, it definitely helps you as far as your pattern recognition goes to recognize certain aspects of different in-game play and stuff like that. So studying in games is very important because I mean, studying in games is something that can give you good knowledge for the middle game type of play that you need, and also even into the opening. And so when you study openings, usually you're only just studying openings and that's it. It doesn't really have any middle or in-game implications. But when you study the in-game, you can kind of go all the way back to the beginning of the game. There's different things that you can do during each phase of the game, that will help you play, get you to the in-game and stuff like that. So all right, well, I appreciate it, guys. Go ahead and subscribe and like for me. If there's any other videos or concepts that you'd like for me to cover, feel free to let me know, and I'll see what I can do. I'm working on pretty much pawns right now, and so I'm just teaching people like how pawns move, the different types of concepts associated with pawns. I'm doing like a whole understanding pawn series and stuff like that. So, like I said earlier. I will, as far as en passant goes, I made a video of that before, so I'll be putting a little information card up in the, the top right hand corner for you guys, so you guys can get to that video right as soon as you watch this one and kind of watch them together and stuff like that. So I appreciate it, like I said, and you guys have a good day.